Most of the times when we're dealing with water issues around the world, we say it's a finite resource, but it is infinitely renewable. And we see the experience of applying efficient practices and really being a stronger steward of the water. There is hope that with all of these things being implemented within India, there is enough water there to grow their economy, to meet the needs of everybody. So it really comes down to collective action across the Golden Triangle to promote the long-term supply reliability of the resource. That makes a lot of sense to me, even in my experience around the world. So we've been criticized in India for water issues. A lot of times it comes up around manufacturing plants, and maybe you can kind of just piece through the timeline of what happened with that, kind of give the inside story of Caldera.
Firstly, I want to take a step back and talk about the fact that we talked about the importance of water sustainability. And in India, most of the water or rainfall that occurs in India happens in a 3-month period called the monsoons.
Yeah.
And the rains are adequate to replenish all the water resources that people need. It's just a matter of better water management and storage. So related to that is the question that you asked me about Caldera. We've been in India now for 23 years, and since our re-entry in 1993. And since then, we've set up a number of plants across the country, some of which were in operation before we entered the country, and we acquired them through our acquisition of the Parley brands. And some of them were greenfield projects that we set up. In all cases, when we set up a plant, we do it keeping in mind all the regulatory compliance issues, making sure that we get all the necessary government permissions. And we also are very diligent about using water resources exactly as we have got permission from the government to do. But what we've learned over the years is that it's not good enough to be compliant with the law. It's not good enough in India to be a responsible user. It's important in India to go beyond responsible usage and compliance to stewardship in the local community. We recognize the need for water stewardship, and so we have set up water and rainwater harvesting structures, worked with local farmers for drip irrigation, and created a lot of projects that have helped us replenish much more than 100% of the water that we use. In fact, at latest estimates, it's over 600% of the water that we use in our plant in Caldera is replenished through all the projects that we've done. And that includes water saving and water replenishment projects.
So you mentioned that Coca-Cola has re-entered India 23 years ago. And during the last decade or so, the water journey for India and Coca-Cola has unfolded, and it continues to unfold. Can you talk a little bit about how we have changed as a company through our water journey and the bigger CSR journey that we've been on? Can you talk a little bit about how it's changed us?
The biggest changes I've seen, and I've been in the company 18 years, and I was in India when we first started our company-owned operations. And I again saw it about 10 years ago when I was in marketing. And the biggest change I've seen over these years is, firstly, the scale of impact that we create as a company. India used to be the 19th ranked country by volume for the Coca-Cola company, and today it's 6th rank, and our intention is to make it amongst the top 5 businesses for the company by 2020. Now, with scale has come greater responsibility and a greater expectation from society on the nature of impact that we have, not just economically, but also environmentally and socially. So we've had to, over the years, think through all our actions from an end-to-end perspective, not just from a profit perspective, but also from a planet perspective, a community perspective, and of course, most importantly, the impact it has on the local communities that we serve. We've also realized that in a country like India, it's not good enough to comply with the law, because the government in India may give you permission to operate, but the social license to continue to operate comes from civil society. And unless we partner with civil society and and they invite us into their lives, we will never be able to succeed in India in the long run.